Hey everybody, sweepers are everywhere in Standard right now. We have sweepers as low as 3 mana with split up, and so you need to be prepared for sweepers. Some Magic players get really tilted when their board gets wiped away. They just spent a bunch of turns building up a creature board and then it's gone. In our last video, we talked about sideboard strategies in your best of 3 games to help your creature decks be more resilient against sweepers, but the real fight against them starts now. It starts in deck selection before we even get out to gameplay. So when you're looking for a deck that is resilient against sweepers, what you're really looking for is either a deck that's not playing any creatures at all, or a deck that can rebuild quickly if those creatures are swept away, right? And so this is Izzet Lessons. This is attacking on 2 different axes. The main axis is this Monument to Endurance and draining your opponent 3 life at a time each turn, and eventually you're doing this both on your turn and your opponent's turn, so that turn cycle is going to go ahead and have them lose 6 life. But the secondary plan is playing Stormchaser's Talent, right? This is an enchantment that comes out and makes a 1/1 otter token with prowess. And the strategy here is to use Boomerang Basics to bounce it back into your hand and draw another card. And when you play it again, you're getting another otter token. So eventually you could have 3 or 4 otter tokens out there, and your opponent is really going to need to wipe the board. When you do, how fast you can recover is going to show you whether or not you're winning the next game. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, so it's not just Stormchaser's Talent that's making otters. Ral is a 1 of 4 mana Planeswalker, but oftentimes you're playing it for 3 off of Gran or Artist Talent, and when you can, it's even better. It does make otter tokens as the +1 ability, and then the -3 ability can draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards, both parts of strategies, right? So Izzet always loves the drawing the cards, and then discarding 2 cards is amazing once you have Monument to Endurance out. So the fight against sweepers starts right now. We're going to jump into gameplay and talk about, as we're building up the board, what we are doing to put ourselves in a position to be resilient against a sweeper. So let's go ahead and jump into that gameplay right now. And we'll go ahead and get a game started. We're going to be talking throughout this video about what would happen if a sweeper were to come out, regardless of how likely or unlikely that is, given the opponent's board state. We're going to be talking about what we can do to recover and get a little bit more mental practice in on what to do in those cases. We don't want to be tilted once a board wipe comes in. I've seen thousands of concessions and opponents being tilted right after a sweeper, and then it causes unnecessary losses. We are playing first, so we are going to have creatures on the board immediately. Turn 2, we can even do the Boomerang Basics talent trick for 2 mana, and you'll also have a new card to replace Boomerang Basics here. So we're all good on this. We'll go ahead and keep. Against this specific deck, Iroh's Demonstration becomes a sweeper because it deals 1 damage to each of your opponent's creatures, and on our opponent's turn, our otter tokens will likely be 1/1s, and so they are vulnerable there, so we'll have to keep an eye for that. But this does look like it's going to be a green deck, which is great for us. We could hold up a removal spell for like a Badgermole Cub, or we could just get creatures out on the battlefield right now. I think that's what we're going to do. If they have a Cub, we'll have the removal spell for the following turn. This way we'll also get another creature out there. We'll be able to attack. Ooh. Sequencing mistake here on the lands. Should have had the blue land out to play the Stormchaser's Talent. Hopefully that's not going to come back to haunt us. Now the question is, do we want to play the talent, or do we want to play the Grand? We are probably going to hold up Combustion Technique now. I think what we're going to do is we're going to play the talent just so that we can get in for an attack. Although I don't think he would go ahead and block either way. We could offer this trade, but I don't think that's what we want to do. There's one lesson in the graveyard. If there was more, you could play Grand and hold this up for 1 mana, but not going to be the case here. Okay, and the artifact is going to be destroyed. Okay. We would love the artifact to still be there, but also not the end of the world. We will attack in. And a block. Okay. So we will either lose an otter token or we'll lose a removal spell if we wanted to just go ahead and shoot this right now. Honestly, I'm not overly worried about losing a token, right? We lost a token, they lost an actual card from their hand. We'll hold them off mana. I guess it's worth it here. But again, we're not getting in for any damage there. Opponent has missed a land drop, so now they hit that. Okay. Formidable Speaker. They're going to go get whatever creature they were looking for. Yep, and it's the cub. Okay, we have sorcery way of getting rid of the cub. So here we play Monument and a Grand and pass. Once Monuments are out, we're feeling a lot better about this matchup. He's going to have 3 mana left over, but he's only going to have 1 more card. If this is a Speaker, it would be rough. We're going to go ahead and kill the cub. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get in there. He's got 1 card in hand. He's drawing a 2nd card. We're going to have... Yep, that's not the card we wanted him to draw for sure. We need a demonstration here. Okay. Basics is not bad. We can't Boomerang Speaker because he'll have more value. We could bounce this and get 2 triggers off the draw and discard. Although if we have 0 cards in hand, we're not going to get much. I think we just need the card here, right? Okay, I like that. This would have the kicker. These guys did get big for sure. Not being able to get in is hurtful here. Wish we knew what this last card is. Okay, 2nd Grand makes me just want to get in and attack. And I think we will draw and discard. And we're just looking for cards right now. And do we want anything else? Do we want a treasure token? We have 1 mana. The Gran is online. Yeah, let's take a treasure token. Okay. And we'll play a Gran out. And pass the turn. This formidable speaker just stopping all the attacks here. And gonna be a problem. Although Iroh's demonstration makes it a lot better. So what could we do? We could attack him. We could deal 1 to everything. No. We could use both spells to kill a speaker. We could just we could deal 4 damage right now. That many +1/+1 counters on it. Not good. I guess we have to go ahead and use this now. I don't want him to get even more +1/+1 counters. Get bigger. This means we can attack with the otters. We're going to draw and discard to get 2 draws. Good to have there. Nope, can't play this. If you watched my last video, made a mistake with abandoned attachments, having no cards in hand to get rid of. Okay. Here we'll go ahead and ditch a land. And only a Gran there, so we'll go ahead and keep drawing. Okay. Artist talent will certainly help. This will make these 3/3s. Play a Verge. We can go ahead and attack. And play a Gran. Now it's on the opponent to get something done here, and they do not. So, atypical game, we really relied on the creatures themselves, but if we were to get sweepers, as long as we could have some discards, which now with Artist Talent, we would have for every non-creature spell, we could get that ball rolling, and they were at, I think, 12 life the turn before, and so that would only be 2 turns worth of draining for 3 in order to get it done. We're going to jump into the next one here. And game 2 coming up right now. Switched over to ranked just to make sure that we're getting the decks that are on the ladder right now. They are very similar to the ones that are in the play queue. It's not really that different, but just to make sure that we're getting a little higher quality opponent's decks, we'll go ahead and make that switch. Nice opening hand. Would like to draw some lands eventually. Grand will be able to go get them if we need them. Using a first accumulated wisdom at going to get a land, it certainly feels bad, but when you have a second one in hand, no big deal there. We'll go ahead and keep this. And we will lead with Grand. If our opponent is going to lead with removal, it is something that's going to happen. And they do not. Okay. We can either scavenger, we could either technique or we could demonstrate here. I think we will... Is the upside, these guys aren't going to get bigger than 4, so I guess the upside is we'll pay 2 life, we'll make this red, and we will technique the first one just in case they play 2 of them on the next turn. We'll attack. We do want to keep this land. Let's go ahead and ditch 1. Feels bad to ditch them, but next turn we are likely to use this removal spell and then have enough mana to draw 3 cards, and our opponent was all about that optimistic scavenger. Once it was destroyed, not so optimistic themselves. Stretched a little there. I don't know if you saw it in my forehead when I was thinking of it, but sometimes those jokes are a bit of a stretch. But we'll go ahead and get into the next one. For the most part so far, we've only had Grand and then usually 1 token, sometimes a second token, out on the battlefield for a possible sweeper. Here, you do have to be careful with the, and I made this mistake in the first video, the Spire Bluff Canal into the Verge. A Verge can only tap for red if that's the play, if you're not using Steam Vents. But we'll go ahead and keep this. We're on the draw, so our opponent will get to make the first move, and we'll have to decide if it's a Grand or a Lesson. And this definitely looks like sweepers will be in the deck, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, the Prince, and this is a Scry 2. Here we are going to be stopped from attacking, but I think it's probably worth getting the artist talent down. Again, Verge here, I know this is going to be red, not an accident like it was the first time, and we will not attack. While our opponent was tapped out, this may be a bunch of counter spells held up for the rest of the game, so getting this monument out is going to be a problem, but yeah. So we'll go ahead and I kind of assume we're not going to get this monument out right now. So let's go ahead and do a firebending lesson and see what our opponent does. We have a draw and discard, and we can use it on one of these lands. We'll get rid of this. We're just going to need the island and mountain. If we had 2 Steam Vents, we would not have done that play. We'll just attack in. Okay. I like to see that. So we'll get rid of a demonstration. And this is a Star Charts. Cool. And we will have to pay the 2 life just to hold this up so we can get rid of this. But we'll get the mana back when this is active. I like to see that. This could be a spell snare though. If it is, the abandoned attachments goes to the graveyard, and that would turn Grand on. So, okay with it if that's how it goes. We'll go ahead and try. Get rid of the demonstration either way. Get rid of... now we can get rid of a Steam Vents. Keep the Verge. Okay, and so we have a dedicated plan. We have the value engine. And this is going to put 1/1s on the board. So we're going to be open for sweepers. And if we do get swept, we will be able to have our value engine of Artist Talent and Monument to Endurance. So things are looking good for us here. We'll start with the Monument. This will trigger the first discard, and we will get rid of this land, figuring we will get a land at some point. Okay. We'll go ahead and play a Talent, and we will... Ooh, do we need to discard here? Yeah, we will. Do we want... We are going to... What are we going to do here? We're going to start and be aggressive with the life total. We know we're going to be bouncing this. And that's the card draw that we're looking for. Yeah, we could get rid of another Grand. We will draw a card. Yeah, all of this is good. Again, we don't have the removal spell for the Prince, but that is fine. If they were to sweep the board, we still have Talent, Basics, and being able to discard next turn. So we are in really good shape. Opponent, I guess, is searching for a land or searching for a sweeper, so we have to kind of keep that in mind for the following turn. One removal spell would be really good here, so that we could we could get in with the Grand. Not something that's huge, but something that we definitely need to consider. And we are going to ditch a land. We are going to start with the draw card. We are going to ditch this land. Draw 2 more cards. The removal spells have not been prevalent. It's fine. We'll go ahead and play another Artist Talent. And we can discard Passage now. Okay. Technique I like to see there. We'll go ahead and tech this. And we will discard a card. At this point, I think we are going to discard the Grand. We'll have the land for next turn. Ooh, what a nice one. We can get rid of this land. Yep, and so now it looks like we have just about everything here. We're going to accumulate knowledge on his turn and get the next drain 3. Do we want to do something like put out a Storm Chasers? That would add 1 here. No, I don't think so. We'll just get in for the attacks. And demonstration can go. And that's it for this turn. If for some reason they were to kill Grand, we would still have 2 mana for this Wisdom, but we'll use it for 1 just in case. We're not going to end up using Technique on this turn, but it's certainly a possibility. But here's a spot, right? Do they spend 4 or 5 mana to destroy all the creatures? Here they're going to hit the artifacts and enchantments. Okay, so if we deal 3 damage here, all we need to do is play, bounce, play again, and that will be enough for this, right? So we'll go ahead and accumulate knowledge. Not the sweeper I was expecting, but the sweeper that I now find myself with. Yeah, let him think that we have some hope by getting rid of that talent. Ooh, so good. We'll make a token. Yeah, this is going to prompt the concession here, I believe. Yeah. Get rid of a Grand. Draw a card is the only thing that's left. Get rid of a land. Yep. And yep. Those are all gone. It is my turn, and all we have to do is get your prowess up. And so we'll go ahead and do that with Monument to endorse to start. We will accumulate wisdom and then bounce. That'll make this a 4, and we'll attack for 5. So sweeper there, sweeper on the things that mattered, but they were not able to sweep both enchantments and artifacts. You do have Ultima, which can hit creatures and artifacts, but it doesn't hit the enchantments, right? So they're hitting 2 out of 3 of that triangle of creatures, enchantments, and artifacts, and our deck was well positioned to take advantage of both of them. Let's go ahead and jump into another one here. Izzet Lessons is not the only deck that is resistant to sweepers. I just want to show that it's hard to push Restoration Magic into a deck that just only has creatures, because either you have the card in your hand or you don't. You have to hold up mana, the whole entire game, and so you're not developing your proactive game plan, those type of things. Even if it is like the mono green decks that are playing the +1/+1 counter, and that is hexproof for the 1 mana spell, and then the 2 mana spell gives it hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. Holding up 2 mana on your opponent's turn all the time while they're playing a control deck, they don't go for the sweeper, and then they just draw more cards, right? Like, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Courtyard here, and we are going to attack in first. Again, Verge and Canal. Make sure that you have this interaction down pat. Either way, we're going to attack first and see what we get. And we will probably be just destroying this at the end. Yeah, 1 too many lands. And take our 1 point of damage. And if our opponent thought they were getting away with something, they will now know they're not. Play the Steam Vents tapped just to save a little life. Now Verge taps for either color, so we don't have to worry about colors the rest of the game. Yep, this can't block and has menace, and if you control no skeletons, okay, so that skeleton will be around for a while, but it cannot block, so it's not something that we're overly worried about right now. We can abandon attachments and then wisdom, so I like all of that. This is draw first and then discard, so no sense in not doing this. We'll get rid of a land because we think we're going to just have everything we need. And these are both instants, so we will just do it on their turn. We have up the combustion technique if we really needed it. Again, 1 more damage there, but no problem. We're going to go for this now. You know what? We could discard this. I don't think we're going to have as much time bouncing everything around. And then before your turn, let's draw 3 cards. Okay, and then now we're just going to have everything that we need for the rest of the game. Go ahead and play this. We will attack. I guess we could have played a Monument there before attacking. Let's get rid of Canal. Likely would have been better, but we'll go ahead and play it now. And these are all 1 mana spells, probably killing one of them and leaving the one that can't block around, but we shall see. Okay, playing another one. Yep. And not going to work out quite as the opponent thinks, although they do have 1 more mana up somewhere. Okay. The Miner. We can let them go to attacks. And pick off 2 of these. Still taking a bunch of damage, but now we're going to have Artist Talent, and we're going to attack. We can discard. We can draw a card. Got to go all the way through damage. Now we're going to have blockers. We can get rid of the land. We're going to get the... We're going to get the treasure token first. Okay, now do we... If we make the second one and then play the talent, we'll have the token to block, but we won't be able to pump up the token. Or what we can do is play the talent and hold up 1 removal spell. This will be a 2/2. We could block and trade. And then eventually get the Monument down by itself. I think that's what we want to do. We will have 1 more draw and discard, right? So we may have something else that comes up, but this is all... Do we get rid of the 1 Monument? Yeah, I guess so. Get a second token. And we'll pass to them. This is Menace, right? So this is probably where the removal spell has to go. But the removal spell will give us a draw and discard. Okay. I like having more than 1 blocker now. This may put 2 things onto the battlefield. If it does, we could be in a little bit more trouble. Yeah. Yeah, this is all attacking. Huh. Okay, so can we survive? Yeah, I think we can survive this, just barely with 1 life. We could draw. So we have to kill one of the Menace guys, right? These guys are going to have haste. We drop this out. I think we do have to draw the card. Okay. Okay. We can block here. Block here. We'll go to 1. Yeah, haste is obviously really important. Okay. So we kill this one. Discard Gran. I want to draw a card first because I want as many cards as possible. I'm going to discard a passage. And is this a chance that this is the only thing I have? No. Okay. Combustion technique makes me feel a little bit safer. We're going to do this and wheel the Grand again. Discard this. Okay. I like that. One more blocker. Have to decline this draw and discard. Okay. How many creatures can they put out? Is it less than 3? Okay, that's the question. There's one. Can't let that resolve, right? Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, close game there for sure. Going down to 1. There was a choice on playing a second monument that I really wanted to do. Maybe it was a greedier choice. Certainly something I wanted to play, but something I felt like I needed the extra blocker, and it turned out I actually did. The deck's explosive. I'll be honest, I've played that deck, a few versions of that deck. I've never had good success with it, but it's always been good against me. And so maybe something that I want to revisit and figure out exactly what I'm doing wrong, because in my hands, just doesn't end up getting there. But it is a strong deck for sure. And yeah, I don't love having both Grands in here, but on the play, it's certainly able to get in for the first couple of turns, and getting these lessons in the graveyard, accumulated wisdom will end up coming up there, so we'll go ahead and keep this. Again, we're only going to have the exposure of 1 creature on the battlefield. Sweepers are not going to want to spend 4 mana to kill just a Grand. They will if they need to, but they certainly don't want to. Okay, and we will just attack first. We'll get this trigger. I do think we want to keep 3 lands, right? So we will go ahead and we'll get rid of the other Grand, won't we? Yeah. If they had a removal spell for 1 mana, they would have played it already. Now we get to hold up removal if they're playing creatures. They are not. Could this be a artifact deck? Okay. Artist talent, I like to see. We're going to just get in there and immediately attack if they have a removal. We'll find out soon. They're not going to give us the triggers if they don't have to. And they did, so yep, 5 damage to a tapped creature. Okay. End of turn. We are going to play Artist Talent. Play the Verge. We will have a Firebending Lesson up, but these artifact stacks are not going to play anything this small. So, how do we move this forward? We have the Wisdom, and now we can start unloading some of these extra removal spells that we're not going to use. We'll take a Grand. Not exactly what we wanted, but we'll make them have something. They're going to have removal. They will have removal. But we're gonna make them have it. Yeah, Star Cage. Gonna come down, get the creature. Okay. We're looking for this land. One more land and we'd be able to do a lot more with this. Even if we draw it right now, we'll get rid of a lesson. Okay. Draw 3 cards and now we should have the land. No, lesson first. If we had the land earlier, we would be able to have done this Artist Talent trick. Spire Bluffs all come in tapped. Mountain doesn't, but then we can't bounce the talents, so we'll just play Spire Bluff and pass. Deck has a lot of ways to find removal and to get removal, but they're going to have to. Right? Get rid of the Artist Talent. Okay. So with 1 mana, this is something where we probably just start with bouncing this back. It's not draw and discard, but it is draw, right? And make another one of these. And now we're going to pressure their life total. We can do this just for the extra point of damage. Again, Combustion Technique not amazing against their deck. We'll go ahead and attack in. We're not going to have the discard for this Monument to Endurance to really do too much, but something to consider. Soul Guide Lantern, okay. They can wipe 1 thing from the graveyard. We're not overly graveyard reliant right now. Day of Judgment. First Wrath up on the board. Okay. So we could Monument to Endurance, but if we do, we're not doing anything else. So what I think I would do... So if I pay this... They're going to have to sacrifice... they're going to have to sacrifice this. So this is 4 mana, destroy Soul Guide Lantern. I don't hate it. Let's see if they pop it in response. They don't. But they do it now. Okay. Okay, so now we are on the plan. Next turn, 6 mana, we can have this, and then if they leave open any targets, we can start making 1/1s. It's pretty good. If we ever untapped, we would go Monument to Endurance, make a 1/1, right? Oh no, this is instant and sorcery, so we would have to have some kind of target. Ooh, I do like seeing that when we didn't have that much else going on. Okay, let's start with Monument. Okay. We'll go ahead and pay 2 life. Now the question is, do we tick up or do we tick down? We can have 2 discards, which will go ahead and deal 3 to them and draw us another card. If they have removal, they're going to have something like Perilous Snare. And so I don't think the life total, I don't think his loyalty total is all that important. So we're going to draw 3 cards and discard 2.
Fine. Just have to observe, analyze, iterate.
Okay, we're going to discard 2 here, and not the best draw, but with 2 discards, we'll be able to have him lose life, draw another card. No need for extra mana things right now. We will have to plus up, next turn, but again, plussing up is just going to get us tokens. He could have another Perilous Snare at some, or Star Cage to get rid of all the tokens at some point, but if he does, that is also perfectly fine. Yeah, I think we're in good position here. We level this up. It's a lot of mana. If he wants to kill it, he can kill it, but if he spends his turn killing this, then Rahl is going to start taking over the game. We have a removal spell which will trigger making another otter if he puts out a token, if it's synthesizer and starts making out those big tokens. They're not the biggest combustion techniques, but certainly something. Okay, damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to a creature. Okay, we're going to do something kind of silly here. We're going to instead target our own creature, just so that we can get a +1/+1, make another otter token, and we're just swapping 1 for 1. Does have 4 mana open, so if he does have some more things, he can start going crazy, but we're about to start going crazy also. We're going to make opponent conceded there. We were going to +1, make another token, then bounces back to hand, play it again. We're going to end up with 3 total tokens. The question was, do we not +1, start doing the bouncing, and then maybe draw 3 and discard 2? Maybe that was online for something that we can do. But this was a Day of Judgment, wrathed the board. We were able to win by not reliant only on creatures. We had enchantments, we had artifacts, we had planeswalkers, we had a variety of types of attacks, and so we weren't just reliant on one. Let's go ahead and take a look at this deck one more time. If you are liking this deck, but you're also looking at the amount that it does cost, please know, little spoiler alert for the Thursday videos, we do have an upgrade path starting with 0 rares, going to step 2, and then finally building out to the full version of Izzet Lessons. If you are interested in and have some deck building restrictions yourself, this is the type of deck that we want to play when control is really strong, specifically against creature decks and sweepers. Counter magic is getting a little bit weaker with the with how many Cavern of Souls are being played in the meta right now, and so you're not going to see as much counter, and control decks are going to rely on sweepers. This is the type of thing that helps you dominate those matchups. If you like content like this, please give us a thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe to the channel. We do put out 3 videos a week, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. There's a lot of videos going out, so subscribing is a great way, making sure that you're notified when those come out. If you really enjoy the videos and want to take your support even further, please consider a channel membership. That's the way that really helps financially support small channels. We do have exclusive member-only videos. We have member-only polls that really kind of set the direction of the channel. We also have a community Discord that we'd love to get the conversation about decks like this on a community Discord, so that we can kind of talk a little bit more in depth and go back and forth. And this way, instead of just my opinions, we get kind of a hive mind thing going on and help each other learn. So until next time, have a great one. Thursday video is coming up with budget options on how to build into this deck if you're interested. I will see you then. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.